Well, good morning, everybody, and happy holidays. It is December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve, and I hope you are all doing wonderfully well and about to celebrate. This is my last video for the year. I just wanted to share a couple of things, just a few last things that I picked up this year, and they arrived perfectly on time. Couldn't have asked for better timing on this. I ordered this on Black Friday from La La Land Records. This is a 2-disc set with the music from Friday the 13th Part 2 and Friday the 13th Part 3. Lovely set here. They've actually already done a box set with the music from the first 6 Friday the 13th movies by Harry Manfredini. But I was not able to snag a copy of that. My good friend Paul did, however, send me MP3 files of all of those. So I've got them as MP3s. And I've actually already got something pretty amazing that he sent me earlier, which is the score for the first film, also from La La Land Records. But not only that, it is signed by Harry Manfredini himself. You can see his signature there. It says Harry Manfredini, and he wrote out the musical notation for ki and ma. The ki, sound effect that the Friday the 13th films are so famous for. So this is really one of my most cherished pieces. I love this, so thank you so much, Paul. Can't express how much this means to me. It's amazing. Yeah, I had that for a while. Here's the regular booklet, unsigned. This was the set I meant to talk about. This is, like I said, a 2-disc set. It's got reversible artwork there. So it says Friday the 13th Part 2, but you can open it up and turn it over, and it'll say Friday the 13th Part 3 instead. Like so. There you go. And then you just got your 2 discs there. Part 2 and Part 3 there. Some nice bloody artwork there. Bed from Friday the 13th Part 2. I've actually been listening to these right now as we speak, and they're just wonderful. It's really cool to hear the score for, or the scores for films that you've watched hundreds, if not thousands of times. Well, I mean dozens, if not hundreds of times. I mean, you've seen these movies again and again and again and again and again. But I've never sat down and actually listened to the score without the movie playing, which is a very different experience. It's you can really pick up on the nuances, the details in the score itself, and you can really hear like some really interesting instrumentation and stuff that I've never really picked up on. Most of them actually are in Part 1. If we look at Part 1 again, there is a track there, track 12, Mrs. V Comes Clean. That is a really interesting track where Mrs. Voorhees tells the truth about Jason and herself and all that stuff. It sounds really interesting. It sounds like they're sort of sawing on the, I don't know, strings. They're playing these cellos and instrumentations, and they're playing, and it's like they're harping or sawing on the strings. You can actually hear that, and that's very, very, very interesting track. And another cool thing is the bonus cue, rock track called Sail Away Tiny Sparrow, which was used in the film itself. There you go. Sorry about the glare there. That is the rock track that you hear in the background of the movie on the radios. But that is actually also the closing theme, the Boat to the Water closing theme song when Jason pops up is actually the same song. It just played very slowly and it's very like instrumental take on it. So if you actually listen closely, that is the same song, which is very interesting. So that's a very cool addition. Stuff like that you really pick up on that you maybe never noticed before, and there's a lot of that stuff. Another interesting thing about these, in particular the score for Part 3, is that, as you can see here, it's noted where it says comprised of music from Friday the 13th Parts 1 and 2, and partially comprised of music from Friday the 13th Parts 1 and 2. Harry Manfredini was not available to score Friday the 13th Part 3, so he was only able to do a couple of tracks, which were used mostly in the chase sequence near the end of Part 3. So another person came in and actually used his cues from Part 1 and 2 and sort of combined them and played them backwards and forwards and made a kind of a puzzle of the scores from parts 1 and 2. And that is actually most of the music that you hear in part 3. So if you're familiar with the music from 1 and 2, you'll hear, oh, that cue's from part 1, that cue's from part 2, etc. But it's very nicely, cleverly done. So it never feels strange or weird or anything. But it's just worth noting that most of the music from part 3 is, repeated from parts 1 and 2, but they've still made a proper score album out of it, which is really nice. So yeah, really lovely addition. Alrighty, and we will open this up to have a look inside. Jason comes to play the music of Friday the 13th. I think most of these images are from the Crystal Lake Memories book, which is why they actually, maybe even some of the notations here from the book, they might actually be, which is why they have an ad for it at the end of this booklet as well. Jason spelled with 3 D's. I love this image there of Dana Kimmel sort of practicing her axe swing on Jason, Richard Brooker there in part 3. Really cool image. There you go. A little bit about the sound effect, what inspired it. He said there were 2 main inspirations. One was that he was listening to a famous composer that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce, but that is how you spell his name right there, Penderecki. He was listening to him. And Penderecki, of course, is also noted in horror circles because a lot of his music ended up being used for The Shining. But he was also, Harry Manfredini was also inspired by the scene in part 1 where we see Pamela Voorhees' mouth and you hear Jason's voice. There you go, the best-selling and highly acclaimed hardcover book, Crystal Lake Memories. And there you go, you can flip this and wear this as the main cover art if you want to, but I'm gonna stick with part 2. I think it makes more sense to have part 2 also includes music from part 3 than to have part 3 also includes music from part 2. So yeah. But yeah, that is a lovely soundtrack. It actually got delayed for the strangest of reasons. They couldn't handle the umlauts in my name. So for that reason, this disc set was delayed. But it finally arrived yesterday. Perfect timing because that was the last day of mail before Christmas. So yeah, wonderful set. So glad to have it. And if they do standalone releases of parts 4 through 6, I'm probably going to try to snag those up too. But yeah, go check out La La Land Records. They've got tons of great scores and soundtracks. Really wonderful website. But if you've got umlauts in your name, you may want to type it out with regular O's and A's and such. So yeah, that's the score for part 2 and part 3. Also picked up War for the Planet of the Apes. Didn't order this one, I just found it in a local grocery store. One of my favorite films of the year. Really enjoyed this quite a bit. I saw this in theaters. A lot of people didn't though. This didn't gross a lot of money, which is too bad. I think maybe it was released at a bad time, or I don't know. Maybe it was marketed poorly, or maybe people were ape fatigued or something. I don't know. But I love this film. I love this trilogy. It's dramatic. It's intense. This is a really dark and heavy film, which is kind of tough. It's kind of draining to watch, but nevertheless, what an amazing trilogy this is. Best use of CGI probably we've ever seen, I would argue, in almost any film at all. Andy Serkis is amazing. The dramatic heft and the characters are amazingly well realized. And if you haven't seen the new Planet of the Apes trilogy, please do yourselves a favor and check them out. The first one was called Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And the third and final installment is War for the Planet of the Apes. Great film and deserves to be seen. Again, this is not a fun popcorn movie. It's more like Schindler's Ape, but it is a very, very well-made film and deserves to be seen. So yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes there. The score for Friday the 13th, Part 2 and 3. And previously I had the score for Friday the 13th as well. So yeah, that's it for me this year. Thank you guys. It's been a great one. Time to time to get Christmas cleaning today, and then I'm just gonna kick back and enjoy Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I'll catch you again in 2018. So yeah, take care of yourselves. Catch you in the future. Have a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and a very Happy New Year.